Alrighty, folks, what's going on? This is Matt here for Dark One Linux Tech and Game Wars, the fusion of Linux technology and gaming. And we are looking at a video and a creator that I was asked to react to. Seems to be a rabbit hole of videos. So when you search Linux on his channel, God help me here. You guys like to punish me or torture me or occasionally surprise me. I'm not sure which one this will be. So with that being said, let's get into this particular person's video about why I have not switched to Linux, yet. Please don't be stupid. That's all I ask.
In this video, I'm going to talk about why I don't use Linux. So I just did a video about how Microsoft's requirements for Windows 11, specifically the actual enforcement of hardware requirements, is going to force people to buy new computers. That video created largely a conversation I didn't expect. So as a result of that, I'm making this video. On this video, I'm going to talk about why I don't use Linux, and the reasons that I don't use Linux, I think, will resonate with a lot of other people, because I think the reasons that I have are probably pretty similar to a lot of other people. So, and I am going to say, I'm probably going to try it. I might even do a video of me trying it. So the first reason that I don't use Linux, I'm going to be honest. I'm not lazy. It's not that I am lazy in general. It's that I have my time occupied with a lot of other things. And the simple fact is, in order for me to use Linux, I'm going to have to go. I know how to install it. I've got that all figured out. Once I install it, though, every single thing that I do on a day-to-day basis with my computer, every single task that I normally do is suddenly going to become a learning experience. And look, you can say, oh, you should always be learning something new, but I don't necessarily. I've got this whole setup here. Everything works perfect. I've got everything set up exactly the way I want it to. And, you know, for me to even start to switch to Linux, it's going to be every single time I go to do something, I'm going to have to say, okay, I got to figure out how to do this with Linux before I can even do this task. And, for some of you guys, that's great. That's great. But for a lot of people don't want to. I mean, you're not talking about 15 minutes of effort here, okay? It's going to take me quite a bit of effort. And look, I get it. Okay, Cyberpunk 2077. I want to go play Cyberpunk 2077. I'm sure that's a game that can be played on Linux. And those of you who are already playing this stuff on Linux, you know how to do it. That's great. That's wonderful.
Okay, so first off, the time investment. So anybody interested in technology, anybody willing to change, looking at alternatives, substitutions, drop-in replacements, whatever terminology you want to use, even though I hate when people ask if Linux is a drop-in replacement for Windows or Mac, it is fucking not, is an alternative to those other platforms. But my guy, what I will say is, if you're looking at alternatives already, Mac, Windows, Linux, whatever, and any fucking thing, there's going to be a learning curve regardless of what you do. That's the trade-off with alternatives. You're looking for something similar, but the thing you have is not quite working for you. You look for the alternatives. You got to run into the... Do you know how a Mac works? Are you familiar with the Mac ecosystem and all the intricacies and all the other oddball shit that goes on in the Mac ecosystem? Then if the answer is no, then there's going to be a learning fucking curve there too. It's the same way if any lifetime Mac user goes to Windows, or it doesn't matter. So yeah, there's a time investment, but the time investment is relative to any switch. Car, vehicle, house, job, etc. There's a learning curve regardless. Now you talk about gaming. Now this one's going to be interesting because I'm, an intersection of Linux gaming and technology. Cyberpunk 2077. Most sane people I gotta just go fucking download Steam and install Cyberpunk 2077. No fuss, no muss. Hey, look, click download, install, play your fucking game. That's it. No different than the one you're fucking coming from.
Wonderful. You think you sit there and you hear this dumb guy on YouTube saying, "Oh, I'm going to have to figure out how to do that." In your brain, that's install the game, click a couple of buttons, you're done, you're good to go. That's not the position I'm in. I don't know how to do that. So I'm going to have to learn how to do that, and maybe I will, but I don't necessarily.
So that that's not see, this is where you're right. It is click a couple of buttons. It is click a couple of buttons in the same exact way Windows is. Most distros nowadays, most gaming distros anyway, or most consumer focused distros that are going to push Steam as front and center for gaming, it's already pre-installed. So you already have one up on Windows by the fucking thing. You don't even have to go to the website to download it. You can download it through the fucking package manager. Sorry, software center, store, whatever you want to call it, and just download it that way. There are a ton of different ways to go about that. Like this is just front facing stuff. This isn't behind the scenes kind of stuff. You are literally talking about going to a store, much like you probably do on your fucking phone, on your, tablet, whatever, and typing in Steam, click download, and the thing fucking installs, and you just run it. It is no different. That's not clicking a couple of buttons. That's just the same fucking use case across the platforms, regardless of the fucking platform. I'm not calling that lazy. I'm just calling that a stupid point of view to start with as a whole for any technology person. Because you want, it's easy for you if you're in it. It's not about being in it, dog. Like, this experience is much more conducive on Linux and comparable than Windows is at this point in time. A lot of people are going to point you to a software store or, FlatHub or whatever, or SteamOS or SteamOS like stuff. So the experience is far different. The problem I see with you is, thus far, is you are very, this is what I know, this is what I'm going to stick to, and that's fine. But to speak on it, I will give you credit. You're not speaking knowledgeably on it. That's what I'll say.
Don't necessarily have the time for it right now. Another reason that I'm not using Linux, and this ties into similar to what I was just talking about, is that there's going to be some things that I am either not going to be able to do the way that I do right now, or I'm not going to be able to do it all. I don't know which of those. I don't know which things that is going to be. I'm not going to know that until I go start doing it. I don't know. For example, my if I truly switch over to Linux, on most, if not all of my computers, or at least as my primary OS. A great example is going to be my capture rig. Okay, so something tells me, and again, maybe someone's going to tell me I'm totally wrong here, and that it's just you plug it in and it works. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be somebody that tells me that I'm stupid, but something tells me that my capture rig with my 3 Elgato sound cards in it, or my 3 Elgato capture cards in it, something tells me it's not going to be as simple as just throw Linux on it, plug my HDMI cable in, and start capturing away like nothing changed. I don't see it as being that easy. I suspect each of my games to some degree is going to need to be individually troubleshot. Can I play Fortnite on?
And this is where you, as the consumer, customer, person looking at it, the technology person, I want to make this clear. This person is into technology. Multiple monitors behind him, mounted rig over here in the corner with the Dell. Like, dog, when you buy a piece of hardware, do you just go by brand or do you research your stuff? And I'm not saying like every consumer should research this shit, but if you have a passion for it and interest in it, or are you looking, if you're looking at stuff, you are going to look at compatibility. It would be no different than if you did this with, you know, various Windows stuff. There's no different if you do it with stuff. If you were on Windows and going to Mac, is it going to work? Mac is ARM. Is it going to fucking work? Who the fuck knows? You don't fucking always know. There's been Windows hardware that I have seen that doesn't fucking work with Windows, and it will just refuse. Somebody that I know had bought one of the 1X player eGPUs. Cool, eGPU, Windows. Will not detect it without getting bricked because the drivers are so weird for it. Another guy that I know has a, and these are just personal examples, anecdotal, has an Elgato capture card. Shit doesn't show up for Windows at all. But guess what? It'll show up under fucking Mac OS. Like, it's relative. So again, I'm not calling you stupid, but somebody who's going to actively be looking to switch, like you, are always going to look at their options and generally even surface level research their situation and their stuff. Generally, not always, but especially people who are in technology. You can't say we don't hem and haw and look at spec and look at phones and look at all this other shit 75 different fucking ways before we validate a purchase in our mind. Because that, we're always looking for best bang for fucking buck. Again, I'm not saying if your hardware don't work for it, then don't use it. Like, I'm totally, right tool for the job kind of person, but like, if you're unwilling to even put in effort at all, the output you're going to get at the end result is probably going to be a bad result. Zero effort generally equals zero, kind of some game at the end of it. And, that's up to you, but computing is always a learning experience. And if you're stuck in, I don't want to change, get off my lawn, this was what works, then that's your prerogative, bro. But like, it's kind of a dumb mindset for anybody in technology. Like, I fucking detest Mac OS. I fucking hate it. But guess what? I have dove all into the Mac ecosystem before, lived on it for 2 or 3 months. I have a MacBook Pro 16-inch 2019. I hate Windows. Fucking Windows system. I have a Surface Book that runs on Windows. Like, you dive into it. If you're gonna be in it, be in it. But like, if you only view through this narrow lens, talk about the narrow lens that you know, not the one that you don't. Like, if you're asking genuine questions, that's different. But like, you can't just be stuck in your tech bubble and afraid of anything that pokes at it or changes. You're going to be like those fucking sysadmins that just don't like any goddamn change and, still find yourself running on fucking OS2 Warp on ATMs that no longer works or is updated. It's like, give me a break.
On Linux, I don't know. Can I? I don't know. And that's the thing. There's a lot of question marks there, and I just don't have time to erase those question marks. I don't have time for it right now. And I'm in a position where most of what I'm doing on my computer, like, it's not mission critical. It's not like my livelihood depends on it or something. This YouTube channel, you can see I've got just under 2,000 subscribers as of when this video is made. This is just kind of a hobby project for me. But there's people out there who it's way bigger than that. They're unable to make things that they have to have work for their workflow work with Linux. And so I wanted to start giving, there seems to be just this attitude from people who do use Linux of, Well, there's a solution to that. Just use Linux. And I'm not denying Linux can be a solution. And for many people, Linux would be a perfect solution. I mean, I would say the majority of computer users out there are pretty base. The majority of PC or PC users out there are people who literally do everything in a browser window. Like literally all they do is stuff in a browser. They're not doing video editing, they're not doing photo editing, they're not running Premiere, Photoshop, Lightroom. They're not gaming. They're not doing any sort of specialty engineering, CAD work. None of that. That's probably like 90+% of your users. And for those people, I mean, hell, for those people, a Chromebook would do the trick. But that's just not the case for everyone. It's not the case for probably a lot of people watching this channel. So anyway, I hope that gives you kind of an insight. And it's, as I'm just going to reiterate, I don't hate Linux. Don't think it's a bad option. I'm going to start exploring it, but it's not an immediate solution to the problem. And so I kind of just wanted to talk about that. So anyway, thanks for watching the video.
Anytime you're going to look at switching to anything requires at least, sometimes, yes, I can say I have made purchases and impulse purchases that I have later regretted for a variety of different reasons. The point remains, however, if you are in looking at alternatives, why not explore all the alternatives? But you have to be in the mindset of understanding that alternatives are different. There's going to be different solutions. And this is what I constantly say. You have to be in the right mind frame and space to understand that. I don't know, just because my last car had cup holders in the back, just chilling on the sides, just because they get moved to the center console that you have to slide out. I don't really care. It still has fucking cup holders where I wanted them, just not where I'm used to them. It's kind of the same thing. But the mindset is you still have to be open to understanding shit's going to be different and moved around and work and operate. The function's going to be the same as far as like the end result function. The path to get to it might not exactly be the same though. And that's okay. But you have to understand that. And as far as like time and all this other stuff, that's a you choice and only you choice that you can make. Nobody else. All like Linux evangelists, as much as I fucking hate that term, as much as Linux community users, etc., can tell you the options that are available. It is down to you, the individual user, to determine whether or not it is the right solution for you. For me, Linux 90% of the time is the best tool for the job for what I do. I'm a lot of DIY kind of solutions, and Linux provides me the options and the tools I need for those DIY kind of solutions. Sometimes it doesn't. So it's all relative. So don't hate the video. If you don't have time, stick to what you know. I think there are sometimes people talk on the subject when they really don't know enough about it, and that's fine. But on the same note, I also think it's detrimental because they're digging their own grave by showing their own stupidity and unlimited scope of knowledge on it, that they're so scared of that lack of knowledge that they're not even willing to put in any effort to gain some type of understanding or knowledge of it. Like, I use everything, even though there are some things that I fucking hate about using everything. And sometimes the jack of all trade, master of none is very true. But at the end of the day, it is what works best for me. So if Windows works best for you and not living that, cool, Mac, whatever, fine, but works for you. But if fear or lack of time, as this person says, is your only reason for not seeking, like trying to gain some knowledge or look at different options that might be available for you for whatever reason you're looking at them, and you're just sticking to what you know because it's your protective cocoon and bubble, you're kind of limiting your view. Kind of says a lot about you as a person, though. That's my take.